Welcome to the Predictable Revenue Podcast, where frontline sales leaders teach you how to build and scale an outbound sales team. Welcome to the Predictable Revenue Podcast. I'm your host, Collin Stewart. Today, I'm joined by the cloud security singer. I've been pretty pumped to meet Kate and get a chance to get her to share her knowledge on the show for a while after I got introduced to one of her videos that probably destroyed everybody's LinkedIn about a year ago. And you were singing about cloud security. So everybody welcome Kate Turchin to the show. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm really excited about this topic because it is one of my favorite things to talk about, and we're gonna talk about some good stuff today.
Cool. So today we're going to talk about how Kate turned herself into a lead magnet, basically harness one of her hidden talents, I guess not so hidden anymore, and really leverage that to get some more leads out of just being on LinkedIn, being on Twitter, being on the usual social networks that we're all on. And unfortunately for us, Kate gets way more leads than we all do. And so I thought, you know what, let's get her on the show and maybe she can teach us how to, learn from her and do a little bit better than we're currently doing now.
Definitely. The lights just went off in this room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this like one of those environmentally friendly rooms, or was it a genuine power outage?
It must be environmentally friendly. I wasn't. Okay. All right.
So if Kate gets up and dance, anybody on YouTube, if Kate gets up and starts dancing in the middle of the episode, it's because her lights are going off because she's in the green room.
Right. Okay. So yeah, as you mentioned, we're going to talk about how I transformed myself into a lead magnet, and then we're going to talk about how you can do the same thing. Cool.
So before we jump in, I'm curious, you were working in the cloud security space and you're like, hey, you know what? I can sing, I can play guitar. I'm just going to pick up a guitar and I'm going to write a prospect a song. Like what goes into what was happening in your mind when you decided I'm going to do this?
Yeah. I mean, basically I had a really small territory when I first started being an SDR. I'm talking like 3 square miles in Manhattan. And like my teammates had like all of Southwest, all of Central. And so I came in and at first I was just really discouraged because, I was new. I didn't have any inbound leads. Like I was new at cold calling. Every call was cold. So one day I just decided, like, how can I turn this challenge into an opportunity for growth? And I was like frustrated and I was like, these people are hanging up on me. They don't know who I am. And then I was like, well, you know what? Maybe I need to make myself into someone that they're interested in talking to. I know that I can't be the CEO. I can't change my title and be more important, but I'm going to try to make myself social media famous. And then these people are going to want to talk to me. So it started with, writing a prospect a song, and he posted it on LinkedIn and Twitter, and it started to get around. And that's basically how Cloud Security Singer started.
Was that the first song that you'd ever written for a prospect that made it big?
So that one had an impact. The first song that I wrote, I sent as a Vidyard link, and he posted it on his Twitter, and it started to get some traction. I was like, okay, this is cool. People started reposting it. Ryan O'Hara reposted it, and I was like,
Love Ryan, previous guest on the podcast. That guy's awesome.
Definitely. Big fan of Ryan. So that's when I was like, okay, this is cool. I think I'm going to run with this. But then when it really hit big was my second song, and it was called the AWS Shared Responsibility Model Explained. And that one just went crazy, and I couldn't even imagine.
And was that for a specific prospect, or was it just like, hey, I'm going to throw this up on YouTube or LinkedIn?
Yeah, that was just something that I decided I was going to throw up on LinkedIn as a way to engage the industry. And I think that the reason why it worked so well was because the subject matter was something that people in the cloud security industry were very confused about. And it was just a hot topic. So it was just good timing. I explained the topic really well. Like someone from Amazon messaged me like, oh my God, I wrote the original white paper on this and you explained it better than me. And it's like,
awesome.
Yeah. And that video still is like a classic. Someone put me in their book. Like literally they got a book published and they put me in the book, like a picture of that video. And it's just, I mean, not to like toot my horn, but apparently it explained it really well because it was so simple. So that's when thought leaders started tweeting it. Like the biggest names that I knew of in cloud security started retweeting it, sharing it, answering my LinkedIn messages. All of a sudden, valuable prospects in the industry started connecting with me, C-levels. And it was crazy because I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, I went from having no inbound leads and now it's like just this funnel. Like I sign on LinkedIn and it's like 200 people viewed your profile and they're all like my ideal client profile. They're all good titles. So that's when I was like, this definitely got bigger faster than I thought it was going to get, but I'm going to run with it.
Cool. I just want to take a minute because the whole idea of the podcast is not just to be like, oh my God, Kate, aren't you so great? Aren't you so talented? Like we actually want to take some time and say, okay, well, like if you're not a singer, if you're not a guitar player, or if you're a guitar player, not a singer like myself, how can you actually, get some value out of those talents? How can you stand out? If you're listening to this and being like, okay, well, great. Kate's, she's super talented. She's a good singer, good guitar player. I'm not going to be able to replicate that. Yes, we understand that. And we're not trying to say everybody should learn how to play guitar, learn how to sing and be blonde. And then, go on LinkedIn. Because I'm sure if I was blonde, I'd get many, many more inbound leads. And I'm sure that's the only reason why I'm not getting a ton of inbound leads right now.
Social media marketing.
Obviously. But one of the things we want to explore is like some ideas around how do you take what's unique to you and really stand out. So I just thought if anybody's listening, because I listen to a ton of podcasts, a ton of audiobooks, and I'm like, you know what? There's so many out there that are, hey, this one person was awesome. Let's just talk about why they were awesome. And then you end up listening to like, hey, why this person was awesome for an hour and a half. Yeah. If it's a podcast or like a couple hours, if it's an audiobook and you're like, you know what, this isn't really valuable to listen to how awesome Kate is. What we're going to try, my job here is to really understand, okay, what are the specific things that made Kate awesome? What are the things that she did that really helped her stand out that you can hopefully replicate? And that's really my goal for this episode.
Yeah.
So Kate, like you started with the singing. So how did you decide to establish yourself as like somebody that I'm going to start singing about cloud security? Somebody that, you've got this really small territory. You said, okay, I'm going to write this song. It's going to get out. You've got the first one that made it big. What pushed you to? I'm trying to think the best way to phrase this. But what really got you to the place where you're like, you know what, I'm going to write the song for somebody. I think this is the right reason. Was it just the small territory?
I mean, that was obviously the drive to succeed and overcome my obstacles was a big motivator, but it's also about, enjoying your job, making your job something that is a place to express your passions. And that's really where it came down to, was from a values perspective. Like, I want to make my job fun. And if other people enjoy it along the way, then, that's going to be awesome.
And so it sounds like it was partially having fun, partially educating people, right? And getting your name out there. But Step one, have fun. Step two, get your name out there. What else do you think, like, what do you think was really key in the success of that video?
So fun. The baseline was, like I said, educating it. The first thing that you want to do when you make content is think like, how can I educate? Because if you can make content that people feel like is helping them be better at their job, then they're going to follow you. So I always say that a best practices for getting your social media following is, number one, educate. Number two, consistency. If you can educate and constantly provide value, but then also do it, on a weekly basis or so, you're going to cultivate a following. It's going to happen slowly but surely. So that's what I always recommend as a baseline. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I follow you. I mean, really, it comes down to education and consistency, I think, is what your message is. Well, I think the thing that I'm curious about is, like there's so many people that you see on, and I'm taking a bit of a leap here because I'm not a big social media person. Yeah, I post some stuff on LinkedIn. I don't think I do a great job on LinkedIn. I don't use Facebook, Instagram, anything else.
Oh,
and so honestly, I quit it a couple of years ago, and I just found I'm happier now that I don't care what my friends what political opinions or ethical opinions my friends have on Facebook. I'm much happier having that discussion in a bar or over beers, over dinner, face to face. But that's a different podcast and a different story. I'm curious about how you make the transition from perceived entertainer to somebody who is now trying to have a serious conversation about a very, very serious topic that you don't want that you specifically need people taking you seriously for. Because imagine cloud security is not something that, people take lightly.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. And that's a great point to bring up. And, your content, it's not going to resonate with everyone, but what I found was that it resonated with 9 people out of 10, and it was because it was disruptive, because cloud security is boring. It's not the most exciting thing ever. So people liked that I was doing something that was totally different and totally disruptive. And an example I always like to say in terms of how you should position yourself is like, if everyone is doing one thing, then if you do the opposite, then you're going to be disruptive. For example, in the 90s, the number one selling women's perfume was not Chanel No. 5. It was Charlie. Why? Because every single perfume on the market took a perspective, took an angle of like, we're feminine. So when there's 100 of those and one comes out and says, we're Charlie, we're taking a masculine position, it's better to be number one in a small market than be number two in a big market. That's what I always say. So I'm always thinking about, how can I be disruptive? How can I be number one at something? Because I can't be the best technical cloud security architect. Like, that's not me. Like, I'm not going to fake it and be like, oh, I'm like a thought leader in terms of I defend my cloud, because I don't. I'm in sales and marketing. But what I can do is be the number one and only best cloud security singer. And I think that's really where I shine. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So when you're calling in, are you actually saying, hey, this is Kate, the cloud security singer?
Yeah. So that's where the magic really happened, because this strategy, it starts on the social platform, but that's what I want to tell you guys about, is how to optimize this throughout your whole system. So after that video went viral, I changed my LinkedIn headline to the Cloud Security Singer. I changed my email signature to the Cloud Security Singer. I hyperlinked it to my videos. And that's when it clicked and my funnel just was on fire. It was now I'm emailing people and when they open the email, they're like, what's this? The Cloud Security Singer? They might think that's weird, or that's dumb, or whatever it was, it sparked curiosity. They'd click the link, they'd see my song, and they'd be like, oh, that's interesting. They'd have a strong opinion because, like I said, it was disruptive. And then from there, a lot of them started viewing my LinkedIn profile. So now I created this engine where instead of one touch, because I'm sure, you know, they say it takes 8 touches before you get in front of a prospect. I was getting 2 or 3 or even 4 touches from one touch, because they would get my email, check my YouTube, check my LinkedIn. And then now all of a sudden they remember me. And then now if I can get them on the phone, then, hey, this is Kate, the cloud security singer. Then now all of a sudden I've just turned a cold lead into a warm lead. And if I can't get them on the phone, I leave a voice message. This is Kate, the cloud security singer. So that's how I was able to turn this, really make myself a lead magnet. Does that explain that well?
Yeah, but you gave away the best part halfway through the podcast. You know, like there's the formula. It's right there. Be different, be educational, brand yourself.
I'm glad you think so, but I've got even better stuff for you. So
I hope so.
Stay tuned.
We still got we've got like half the episode to get through. So I hope we haven't peaked, and then everything else is just sort of downhill from here.
No, that was my secret sauce for how I did it. But what I'm really excited to share with you guys is how you can do it, and you don't even have to be an artist or super talented. So that's really where the meat of this episode is going to come, I think.
Cool. So tell me about it. Like this all sounds really great, but I can play guitar, but I can't sing. So I'm not going to just be like, oh, D minor, you're really sad because your cloud security sucks. You know, like that'd be a terrible, terrible song to send somebody, and they'd be like, why are you sending me this garbage? And most people probably can't even play guitar. So how can the normal person who isn't a guitar playing, singing professional, you know, implement some of the strategies that you're talking about today?
And I'm really excited we got to this part, because I'm going to share my screen. I create a little presentation, and for those of you who are just on audio, I'm going to talk through it, and there's going to be a link for you to get all this information.
Yeah, we'll throw it out in the show notes. If you're listening right now, you're on the podcast, check out the show notes, and there'll be a link to, I think it's keynotesinger.com.
Yeah, keynote-singer.com/resources, and you can download a white paper that I created that has all of this content and just goes even deeper. So I'm going to share.
I'm excited. We're sort of pushing you into this, creating all this content just for this podcast. I hope it's got a lot of extra value for you moving forward.
No, definitely, because I've been meaning to create these white papers. So definitely being on the show pushed me to take action. So, all right, share.
For a second there, I thought you were just going to like advance the PowerPoint with it covering only part of your screen, which I've seen people do on a presentation. And I'm like, how are you a real human being that uses technology on a regular basis, and you think this is acceptable, where you've got like 7 other windows open and you're like, you know what, this is fine. I don't need to show the whole thing. I'm just going to show a part of the presentation.
So yeah, the first thing I wanted to bring attention to is a Gary Vee quote that I love. I'm sure you guys all love him. And basically what he said is that if you're in the B2B space, I'm stunned by how many forget that the human still makes the buying decision. Humans make the calls. So many that say that all this new social stuff isn't for them because they're in B2B. Please step back and think about it for a few minutes. And I love that quote, because I think that social media marketing is evolving, and LinkedIn and corporates, it's changing from just being stale and corporate to being more fun, being more gimmicky and over the top, like how you would be on like an Instagram profile. And I think that has helped me a lot stand out, because there's so much noise, and it's just too much noise. People tune out unless it's really, really different. So I really like to think that the future of social media marketing is going to head into the direction of being more like B2C.
So are you trying to tell me that generic white guy with a black t-shirt and a brick background just doesn't play anymore. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying.
No, that's fine. I'm done. The podcast is yours. I'm out of here.
No, I'm just,
everybody, Kate's your new host. Obviously what I'm doing isn't working. So I'm done.
No, I love your brick wall. It's super hipster. But I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if you want to stand out faster, then there's a formula to do it. And it's about being bold. Obviously, you know, Collin, you're established. You have been on the scene for a while. You have this podcast. People follow you. I'm talking about how can someone that was like me, that was not established, that was like literally like 3 weeks into their SDR job, like the bottom performer, go from that to the most famous person at their company in a few weeks. Cool. That's the type of magic I'm talking about making.
Tell me more. I'm not sure I'm quite convinced that you know who I am, because I don't think I'm that well established, but, you know, leeching off a pretty powerful brand with what Aaron's built. So happy to have been a part of that.
Yeah, that's really cool. I told people I was on this podcast. They're like, Aaron. I'm like, oh, where's my slide? Okay, so someone who does a great job of this whole social media marketing brand that, you know, like I said, making it more playful and almost B2C like is Joy Baldridge. I'm sure some of you guys know who she is. She's amazing. Pretty much her content is so over the top. Like she has a picture of like her head in a tiger and she's smiling. Like on her book, she has a picture of her like on a surfboard with a martini next to a shark. If you see her live when she's doing a keynote, her personality matches this brand image that she's created. She's jumping on the stage and cracking jokes. Everyone's laughing. And, you know, she's so Lady Gaga. Like, she's so fabulous. And it's so out of the ordinary from what you usually see.
Was she at the last AAISP in Chicago?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was like, yeah, I remember her. I recognize her. I remember meeting her at in Chicago there. She's hilarious.
Right. And you remember her. And that was like a year ago, because she just nails the social media brand. She does not apologize for being ridiculous, but first things first, she educates. It always has to be grounded in educating and adding value. That's always the number one thing. Like I said, these tactics are going to just make you pop, make it happen faster. She has this little yellow thing called Bob that she gives out. She throws at the audience. She posts Bob on Twitter in different places. So it's just her image. When you think of her, it's so strong. So she's a great example of how you can, you know, not be a singer and do something that's totally fun, that totally gets you noticed way faster than if you were to be like boring person like everyone else.
Just the standard. Yeah, I remember we're at AAISP in Chicago. She gave out like hundreds of or thousands of these little yellow people. Mm-hmm. And I sat down partway through her conversation. I was like, I'm sitting on a yellow person. Like, what is this? And by the end, you're captivated by her story. But it started off as like, I'm annoyed because there's junk on my seat. Like, who would do this to me?
But then it all made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's so over the top. Like I said, her brand is cohesive from everything she posts, all the pictures she posts, to when you meet her in person. And the thing about branding is you want to have a clear position. You know, to look at Mercedes versus Chevrolet. I mean, what is Mercedes? Mercedes is luxury, high-end, wealth. What is Chevrolet? It's a big, little, fast, slow, cheap, expensive. That's why Mercedes outsells Chevy, because they're trying to be everything. So don't try to be everything. Pick one style and keep it cohesive. And because if you aren't cohesive, you're going to confuse your prospect. And if you confuse your prospects, then if they have to try to like think hard to figure out who you are, they're just going to forget about you, because there's plenty of people that aren't confusing, that are easier to latch on to. So she's a great example of, has a brand. She's not Chevrolet, she's Mercedes. She's clear.
That's fair.
And this person is starting to show up more in the thought leadership space, and I'm digging things he's doing. His name is Bobby Merriweather, and he has an interesting story. If you read his bio, he started his career in the military and then switched into cybersecurity sales. And he made a really great video that used the military as a metaphor for cybersecurity. And he does a lot of content that's all very cohesive, that is very, true to his brand as like the ex-military soldier turned cybersecurity sales. And it all has a very cohesive tone of military motivation. And so yeah, he's a great example of, like, once again, someone who doesn't play guitar, but has a very catchy social
leveraging what's unique to them.
Exactly.
And in the post here, you're showing, he sent Happy Veterans Day, to everybody, all my brothers and sisters in arms, and, a couple of good hashtags, a couple of inspirational things, and then a picture of him in Viper Company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and humanized.
That's pretty cool. It's something that not everybody else has, and I think I feel like the trap that we all run into here is that we're like, oh, I'm just another SDR. Mm-hmm. And like, yeah, I might be running a podcast here for a recognizable brand, but at one point, I promise you, I was just another account exec. I was just another inside salesperson. Right. So like, what is it that we can all do to stand out? Because if I can do it, anybody else can do it. I'm not any smarter than anybody else that's listening here. And, in fact, if you probably curved it out, I probably wouldn't be on the top end of that curve. Right. So if I can do this, what is it that's unique to you that you can do to really help you stand out?
Exactly. And that's what I want people to start thinking about today. Because like I said, these are all very different. Me, the cloud security singer, him, the cybersecurity soldier. It's all about digging into what makes you and being genuine. Sales is about being genuine. And so how can we be genuine, but then make our brand stand out? And I think, he could even take it another level and make it like his signature, that he's always wearing army fatigue, that if you see him at a conference, he's wearing army fatigue shirt, or in every video he has a hat. I mean, I'm all about, like I said, over the top social media brands like Lady Gaga, Beyonce, like I'm all about over the top. So
Lady Gaga, Beyonce, predictable revenue, obviously.
Right? Oh my gosh, the lights just came.
I saw that.
That was weird. All right. And yeah, just so a few more examples. I'm sure some of you guys know Jerry Goldstone. He is the sales comedian, and he's really funny. If you see him perform, his jokes are, they resonate with his target audience, because they're about being in inside sales all day. But then if you read his bio, he really, really connects with you in terms of his values and how humor and being positive helps you produce more and enjoy work. And so it's a very positive message. And like I said, once again, it's cohesive. He takes one position. He's not like, I'm the sales comedian, but I'm all about discipline. It's very cohesive. Some more people. I love this picture of John Burroughs, because I mean, you can't say that he's not professional. He's John Burroughs, but that picture it's over the top. Like, you see that and it's him. It's like, just some examples of how we can have more fun here, because there's so much noise that it's okay to have fun and be a little bit ridiculous, as long as you're educating and bringing value. Then your thought leadership will not be undermined by your crazy costumes. It's just going to make it stand out more. So Jeff Barr, he is a a huge leader in the cloud space. And I just thought it was so cool that, you know, he dyed his hair purple for one of the biggest events of the year and did this whole campaign, like, let's go purple for reInvent. You know, it's just another example of someone super professional that will dye their hair purple and stand out and, you know, be a character. And then I'm sure a lot of you guys know Jeremy Levea from Lead IQ. He puts a lot of content, and he definitely, you know, I love that he masters the thought leadership and education piece, and then the consistency piece. Like he's always posting, and then he's usually in a jersey. So, you know, just little things like that will make you more memorable. You see the jersey, you know it's Jeremy, you know, just your little signature, whatever gives you your swag. Like I'm all about, you know, doing stuff that's a little outside the box like that. So in summary, the social media baselines are educate and be consistent. That will get you 60% of the way there. But when you're talking about getting the other 40%, that's when the crazy stuff comes in, the crazy costumes. And so I highly encourage you guys to download my white paper. You'll find it at keynote-singer.com/resources. Download the white paper. It's going to dive even deeper into how to workshop this and kind of do a free write and dig it out of yourself. What makes you unique, and how can you make this into a catchy brand? So download that white paper, and can't wait to hear what you guys come up with. Cool. I think that was the end of my presentation.
That's great. You know, it's interesting. One of Erin's first books was called Unique Genius. And so sort of diving in on the same subject around, you know, how do you define like what is unique to yourself? How do you make yourself stand out? Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, if you don't feel like, if somebody's listening to this and like, yeah, you know, it's great that you're all super talented. And I wouldn't say that Collin's super talented, but, you know, how would you, if you don't feel like you're talented, how would you go about, you know, sort of developing this or finding something that will help you stand out? Because it's great that you've sort of picked some people that obviously prove your case, but like, what if I don't feel like I'm talented at all? What if I don't feel like I have anything unique?
Yeah. And that's totally a problem that I run into when I talk to people about this. Cause a lot of people do feel like, you know, I don't think I have anything that sticks out, but that's why the exercises that the white paper is going to walk you through are going to help to dig it out of you. And I'm just going to give you some examples into that, into some of the suggestions in the white paper, because obviously I don't remember the whole thing off the top of my head, but
how dare you not know the whole white paper, Kate? Come on. What is this? This must be an educational place. Very disappointed.
So the first step is the first step that my white paper asks you to do in the 5-step workshop is write down your talents, hobbies, and interests. So this could be, you know, fishing or origami or collecting baseball cards, you know, so. But then some people are like, oh, I'm still not interesting. Like, I don't have any hobbies. So then you just got to keep digging, because there's something that makes you, that makes you unique. One thing I love to say is, well, write down a list of your, what are some characteristics that make you stand out? Like maybe you're really tall or really short, or you have bright red hair. Because a lot of times what you thought was your flaw can actually be your biggest asset in social media marketing. I mean, a great example, the comedian Carrot Top, you know, he's like bright red hair and super goofy, but I mean, his name's Carrot Top. Like, that's a very cohesive, clear brand. I don't have to exercise my brain to wrap it around his brand. You know, that's good branding. And then
I thought his real name was Shaun White.
I don't even know that, because that's
I'm kidding. Shaun White is the U.S. Olympic gold national snowboarder. But the
Oh,
two look very, very similar. Shaun White's just a
really?
smaller version. Carrot Top is like tall, funny, and jacked. Shaun White is like tiny and also jacked, but like short guy who's amazing on the slopes.
Cool.
Yeah.
I can't say I know much about snowboarding, but yeah, that brings me to another point. Then what about Peter Dinklage from Game of Thrones? I mean, he's a midget, but he's super famous. I can't think of a more clear brand than being a midget. If you could be like the midget seller, like, do you know how you could go use that to go viral, and you could make metaphors about, I don't know, short sales, or you could, there's just a lot of things you could do. And it's so memorable that it's easy to follow. And then another thing that I like to say is, well, what are your favorite things? If you still don't think that you have any physical characteristics you can leverage, like you're totally average, you're totally boring, you don't have any hobbies. What if you did something like just name yourself after a color? You could be, your social media image could be like the green guy, the green sales guy or something. And then all your posts, you would do green emojis, like, clovers and stuff. You would always wear a green shirt. You'd use verbiage like refer to money as the green. I guarantee you, just little things like this that are cohesive, that are easy for the mind to wrap around, is going to set you apart. I guarantee you, if this person, the green sales guy, posted the same content as, let's just say, John Smith, salesperson, they could post the exact same content, but just because this person is highlighting it all in green, has this gimmick that when you see someone in green at a conference, it's him using green in his language. Those things are going to make him stand out and make him memorable and get a following. So there's so many ways that you can leverage this this formula to just, kick it up a notch, just be a little bit more noticeable than the average people.
I think what you're saying is like, it's sort of like getting chased by a dinosaur. You don't have to be the fastest person. You just have to be like faster than the majority of people. Then the dinosaur won't be hungry anymore. You'll sort of stand out.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. It's like every little bit counts, and cohesivity is so big. Like, I can't stress that enough. If you can find something simple, like I said, like a color to be your signature, or even a food or a sport, you make sports metaphors. Like, if you can just be cohesive, people latch onto this because, like I said, it's easy. It's easy to remember. It stands out.
Perfect. Kate, I think I really want to thank you for coming on the show. This has been super awesome. I regret not bringing my guitar so that we could have a little jam. I usually have one in the office, and I've got everything set up, but it actually got broke the last about a month ago. So otherwise, I would have pulled that out. We could have a little jam session together, and everybody would truly see how terrible I am at guitar.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Fun.
Next time.
Maybe we'll do that for next time. But I do want to give you the sort of the chance to promote yourself. And like we do for everybody, let's do a little cold call replay or cold call. All right. Ready?
Is this pop quiz? Okay.
No. We're going to do a little role play.
Okay.
My phone's going to ring. Obviously, it's not going to actually ring because it's just the phone and you're right here. But we'll do a little role play. You can promote anything you want, but it's going to be through a cold call role play. Okay.
Totally cold.
Totally cold. Do you want to set some context? Like, what do you know about me? Because obviously, we're doing some research ahead of time. If you're going to make a call like this, what are you promoting, or what do you want to know about me?
Yeah. Just what is your role? Are you being you, or is this fantasy?
Whatever you want. Who would you actually cold call for what you're going to promote here?
Okay, I would cold call probably a director of sales development or a sales development manager. So,
okay. Perfect. So I'll be a sales development manager at a mid-sized paper company. Call me Jim.
Okay.
Ring, ring. Hey, this is Jim.
Hey, Jim. This is Kate, the cloud security singer. Did I catch you in the middle of something?
Sorry, Dwight, leave me alone. I'm on a call. Sorry. Yeah, I'm busy. I'm just about to head into a meeting. What can I do for you, Kate?
Yeah, I just wanted to give you a call because I know that you manage a team of SDRs, and just wanted to see if you guys have a social media strategy in place that you've trained your team on, or if this isn't something that's all the way established, kind of what that looks like.
No, we're a sales team. We're all B2B. We don't believe in social media. We think that's a bunch of nonsense. Thank you.
Oh, that's so interesting. Can you tell me more? What do you mean, like nonsense? Like are your prospects on social media?
They're on LinkedIn.
They're on LinkedIn. Okay, that's so interesting. Thanks for helping me to understand. So you guys don't use LinkedIn for outreach to your prospects?
No, we feel like cold calling and emailing is probably where we want them to spend most of their time.
Okay, understood. And cold calling and emailing are great. So that's great to hear that you're motivating them with that. The reason why I wanted to give you a call is because I developed a white paper that explains how you can use LinkedIn in conjunction with the emailing and cold calling that you're already doing to actually increase your conversions by up to 10%. So I just want to give you a call, see if increasing your conversion 10% would be interesting, or if that's not.
Very cool. How do you think she did? Kate, how do you think you did?
I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at cold calling. I did it for a while. I mean,
doing okay?
Yeah, but I mean, you made that kind of easy for me, so.
I should have been meaner.
No, you shouldn't have.
I should have. All right. Well, if people want to get in touch with you, they're like, hey, check this. I want to check out this white paper. It's keynote-singer.com/resources. You can grab that. If they want to get in touch with you, if they got questions, where can they find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Kate Turchin. I'm the only cloud security singer that you will find. You can email me directly, kate@keynote-singer.com, or just go to my website, keynote-singer.com. But yeah, definitely download the white paper. If you are a sales development manager, I'd love to see what it would look like if you did that workshop with your team, see what people come up with. Reach out to me, send me a note on LinkedIn. Tell me like, hey, your white paper totally sucked, or we came up with some cool stuff. Just let me know. And if you want help with the workshop, I'm happy to help you discover what makes you unique, that you can sell and leverage to turn yourself into a super lead magnet too. So
awesome. Great. Kate, thanks so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. This was lots of fun. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Bye, everybody.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.